Hello, everyone. We've made it to the end of the second week, and looks like you guys have found the information on the learning journey um, for the class, which I've got right here. And as you keep going through that document, that will give you the information as to what to do and what's due each week. I appreciate your questions so far on the actual certification test. As I posted in the responses, a lot of that I don't have the answers for. I'd recommend you check with whoever's doing the certification process over in the College of Ed, but I'll check with some people and see if I can't find out who that is. I don't know who the current person is. In the English department, we actually have review that we do with students who are going to take the certification for the English language arts, the 4 through 8 and the 7 through 12. And so I've worked on that, but it's been many years ago, so I'm not up to date, but I'll see what I can find out. But I would encourage you to go ahead and check that out, for yourself, because it's going to be different for all of you. But as I've said in the information about the lessons, even though you may not take this exact test, all of the work we do on the test will help you with any test that you take. Because I want to go over lesson 2 and what you have to do for lesson 2, because what people have turned in so far, it's looking like there's some misunderstanding there. And these tests are not easy. So, that's the main reason we want to get in here and practice. And you can see, what they're wanting you to do and how complicated it can be. And again, I want to emphasize the purpose of this class is not to completely prepare you for the test. We'll go over a lot of content and have you practice thinking and talking about writing in the way that you'll need to on many of the certification tests, as well as when you go to interview for a job. So we'll keep talking about this stuff, and the more we do it, the more it will make sense. So, keep asking your questions, and we'll keep working on it, and our understanding will increase, because what I'm having you do here in lesson 2 would be like your pre-test. So this is like your practice test, the first time you do it. I talked about assessment in the learning journey. This would be like low stakes assessment. You're not getting a final finished grade, like you have to do it all perfect. So as long as you do it and do the work, I'll give you full credit. However, I'm not going to give credit for what people have turned in so far because of the misunderstanding. So I'm going to spend most of the time here going over and explaining a little bit more exactly what you need to do for this lesson, because it's pretty involved. It's going to take you a little bit of time and quite a bit of thinking, hard thinking. So I apologize for that, but there are things that we have to do that are hard thinking. And as teachers, you are really expected to have a lot of content knowledge and a lot of pedagogical knowledge. Pedagogy is the science and art of teaching. So that's a lot of what we'll be talking about and covering. So for lesson 2, I'm having you look at the preparation manual, and I ask you to go to Section 5. I'm not going to talk about Section 4. Section 4 is mainly for you to answer the questions in practice. But this Section 5 is what you need to turn in, and this is what you need to write. Now, you can see here in this instruction, I say read down to sample response and rationale, stop there, and then write your own response. What people have done so far is they've just written answers to questions. But let me show you what's going on with this practice. And you need to understand this is just one example, one section from this test. There will be many of these. You might have to do 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many, but this is just an example taken from the 4 through 8 test. So you can see here general directions. They give you a sample assignment. This is what they're wanting you to look at. And they're giving you exhibits. So this is the actual lesson that was put together that you're looking at. So you want to read all of this very carefully. And then you can see here is a poem. Here's more information. This is still the lesson, the student assignment, the criteria, and the student written response. Now, part of the student, what the student is doing in this lesson is answering these questions. This is not your assignment. You're looking here at what a student wrote. So you're up until this point, you were told what the assignment was, how it was put together, what the students are supposed to be doing. Then this is an example of what a student wrote. This is a conversation between the student and teacher after responding to the questions. And then that's where I ask you to stop right here, sample, response, and rationale. So you should write your response, and your response is going to include all of these things right up here, these bulleted points. Analyze the information provided in the exhibits, all of this stuff down here. Cite specific evidence from the exhibits. Write a response of approximately 400 to 600 words. That's quite a bit of writing, in which you address each of the following. So you have to do all of this in your response. Then after you do the response, you write a rationale as to what you think your response, if you were taking this test, what do you think you would score on your response? Now, I pulled out a couple of responses, not to pick on anybody. I'll do a lot of this. I'll pull up examples and we'll talk about how people are putting together information just as a learning experience, not to say anyone has done anything right or wrong or, is not doing a good job or anything like that. But you can see here both of these answered the two questions, the two student questions. That's not part of the response that you're supposed to write. And you can see here, very short, would score my response as a 4. And then here, again, this one's a little bit longer, but still probably not 400 to 600 words long. And here again, just answering the questions. So these are not what you need to do for the lesson. So just to show you that as an example. Now, I ask you to stop reading when you got to this point and write your own response, because I didn't want you to look at the actual, what you have from here on down is sample responses and for each score. So you got what a score of 4 would look like. And then you got what a score of 3, then they go to 2. And then here is how these responses are being evaluated. Completion, application of content, support, and here's the scale. What a 4 response does as compared to a 3, 2. You all are familiar with rubrics. You know how this stuff works. So what people have turned in so far would actually get an unscorable because it's not written to the assigned topic. So let's go ahead and talk about the actual response and what you want to do, what you need to do for your response. So going back up to the sample assignment, this is what you are going to write in your response. Now, this is not going to be easy for you because this is a first time to do this. There's a lot of stuff they're asking about, a lot of the things that you may not be as familiar with, and that's okay, but you need to you need to work and really try to put as much specific information in as you can so that you know where you are at this point, and where you're starting, and what you need to be aware of that you're going to want to work on so that you can get. We want everybody to write a response that's going to get the highest score, right? The score of 4. So after you write your response, go ahead and look at the one that got score of 4 and see the rationale. See how much information is here in the rationale. After you write your response, go ahead and look at these. Look at all of these. Now, when I said stop there, and it's probably my fault in giving the instruction, but I didn't mean for you not to look at any of this stuff by any means. You need to look at all of this stuff because, that's the idea. We're practicing this so that you know how all this stuff works. And then I said after you, over here in the instruction, after you have written your response, go ahead and read the rest of the information in this section, which is the samples of the responses and the rationales for the scores. And then I said, let's see, if you wanted to work on your response after you look at these, go ahead and do that. Because like I said, this is low stakes assessment. We're learning how to do this stuff. I want you to go ahead and do one just so you know, okay, right now I'm not ready to take this test. I don't know a lot about it, but that's okay. This is just us getting started and becoming aware of, what it is we're working on. And then look at these, how they wrote this information. Use these as models to help you write a better response for your actual response, as well as the rationale. The rationales are the why. Why did you do what you did in the response? It's not what you did, and that's what's generally hardest for all of us. It's like, even when we know what we need to do and we do it, it's kind of like, okay, why did you do that? Well, that's the hard part. And that's a lot of what we'll be working on this class, and hopefully give you more ways to think about that and do the actual why and talk about, and that's the pedagogy part. Why am I doing these things as a teacher? Why am I asking writers to do these things? Why will it help them? Where will this help the reader progress? Things like that. So anyway, those of you who already put something up, thank you for showing that there's some misunderstanding there. And you guys that have already posted something, go ahead and do it again. And then don't worry about what you put in there so far. I'll know what, in Blackboard, I always grade whatever the last thing is that was posted. So you don't have to worry about that. But anyway, you've still got time. You got a couple of weeks, I think, to work on this. And like I said, it will take some time. So really get in here and dig and start to figure out. Like I said, it's not easy. It's hard stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that we'll look at and talk about. So go in there. You might want to take some of your own notes, and then we'll keep working on this stuff, and we'll practice doing these more. And then when we do a post-test at the end, that will be high-stakes assessment. That will be cumulative, meaning, that will be like you're actually taking the test. What would your score be? So we'll be looking for you to have a much higher score on that. So anyway, I hope that helps. Please keep posting your questions in the discussion forum like you have been doing. That helps me greatly. So you guys are doing a good job on that. So I know it's hard, and I know it makes your head hurt. But just think of it, it's good hurt. It's good hurt. It stretches us. But the main thing is preparing for what you guys are going to have to do when you have to do whatever certification test you have to take. So, all right. Well, I'm going to stop this and go watch the Cowboy game, and hopefully they'll win. So you guys have a good rest of the Sunday, and I hope you have a good week next week. And I hope you, wherever you are, you're getting some cooler weather. All right. Catch you later.